Hello everyone, my name is Anchal and I'm the PTE expert at IBT head office. Today I will walk you through the PTE exam, what it is, how it is evaluated, what all types of exams are there in PTE, and how it is used in visa applications of different countries. So firstly, we have to understand that what basically PTE is and what all other type of tests in PTE. So PTE is your Pearson test of English, wherein your knowledge is assessed on the basis of 4 modules, and you have 3 different types of tests in PTE. So first one is PTE academic, which is applicable for all the types of visas, and you can apply either your study visa or permanent residency, and it is a widely accepted test throughout the world. Okay, then is PTE home, wherein this test can be given at your home itself and it can be used for your student application visas. Okay, then is PTE academic UKVI. So this is the kind of test which is ideally applicable for your visa applications for UK profiles. Okay, so the aspirants who are seeking to study or maybe settle in UK, they can go for this test, right? Now we will understand that how this test is different from other English testing systems. So first thing is that this is a test which is completely computerized. It will be a test of 2 hours and you will be evaluated out of 90. Okay, so each and every module in this section will be evaluated out of 90 and overall score will also be 90 itself. Okay, there are 4 modules: speaking, writing, reading and listening, and all 4 of them have integrated scoring. So this is a very important aspect of PTE test, which is ideally indicating that if in case you are doing speaking, so from your speaking there are chances of getting scores in your reading and listening as well, right? So if in case you are lacking in any of the module, you can easily compensate it with the others. So this is the best thing in this test. Then third thing is that this test is completely AI based, right? So everything in this test is artificial intelligence based, like all the questions will be evaluated by computer itself. So there is no chance of any human error in this test, right? I hope I have made you understand and I have given you a bit brief about PTE. Now we will dig into detail. Right? So now what basically PTE academic is, like we discussed, it has 4 modules: speaking, writing, reading and listening, where speaking and writing modules are considered to be one section, followed by reading and listening, which are other 2 different sections in PTE. Right? Now these things as we have discussed already, so these things are the ones which you have to take care before initiating your practice. Right? These are ideally the main points which should be considered and you should be aware of while attempting for the test. Okay, so like this test, for this test you will be given a center, right? There are PTE professional centers wherein the exams are conducted. You will be going and giving exam over there and everything will be provided to there and then itself, right? It will be a computer based test, so everything will be provided by the centers to you: the headsets, the systems, the keypads and the notepads, markers that you want to write down the keywords. Everything will be provided to you by the centers itself, right? Then the test will be of 2 hours, that as I mentioned already, and the test will ideally assess your real life English, how you use English in your day-to-day life, right? Then there will be 20 different types of questions that you'll be getting in your test, and every test is like a single test session. It is unlike IELTS that you have your listening, reading and writing on one particular day and you have speaking maybe a day after or a day before the other 3 modules, right? But in PTE, everything will be on the same day itself. So first of all, let's understand the speaking and writing module. This is the most important module, as in PTE, speaking is considered to be the backbone. Like as far as you excel in your speaking, your half of the target is already set. Right? So in speaking, you will get total 54 to 67 minutes and there will be total 5 different types of questions in speaking and 2 different types of questions in writing that you have to attempt. Right? So the first question is read aloud. In read aloud, you will get 6 to 7 questions, and your reading and speaking skills will be evaluated out of this question. What will happen here? There will be a passage in front of you of 2 to 3 lines, and you will be given 40 seconds to prepare for it. And then once the recording starts, you will be start speaking that particular text which is there on your screen. So since you will be reading and speaking, so this will evaluate your reading skills also and speaking skills also. Now in speaking, there are 3 different parameters on the basis of which you are evaluated. That is your content, then pronunciation, and oral fluency, right? And out of everything, this is the most important. You should keep on speaking, right? Like I mentioned that PTE doesn't demand you to be 100% accurate, right? Provided if you are able to respond, if you are able to give an answer, you are good to go. And altogether what matters is confidence, right? So in this you have to speak. Content means whatever is mentioned on the screen, whether you are able to catch it or not. Pronunciation, of course, pronouncing a particular word correctly. And fluency is following a proper speed, a rhythm, and a voice modulation. So this is ideally a very vast concept that you would ideally be able to learn in the classes. However, just to give you a brief about it, fluency is ideally, it should not look like that you are speaking in one go, right? There has to be proper pause at the end of the sentence, or maybe in between, if in case there's any filler, if in case there's any connector, if there's any punctuation, right? So there should be proper voice modulation in your speech. It should not look like that there are so many students who say that if we say faster, would we be able to get good scores in speaking? No, you cannot. It is not required that you have to speak fastly, you'll be able to get scores. No. You have to maintain a certain pitch. Even the students who are speaking on a moderate speed, on a normal speed, they tend to get 90, right? So it is not essential that speaking fast will fetch you good scores. It is not like that, right? Then comes repeat sentence. In the exam, there will be 10 to 12 such questions, and your listening and speaking skills will be evaluated out of it. So in this, what happens? You will be listening to a sentence, and within 3 seconds your recording will start and you have to repeat the same sentence. For example, the computer virus destroyed all my files. The computer virus destroyed all my files, right? This is what you have to do in repeat sentence, right? Then comes describe image. Describe image will have 3 to 4 questions, and only speaking skill will be evaluated out of it. In this, what happens is there will be any picture in front of you. Let's say there's this picture, right? It could be any bar graph, line graph, pie chart, table, map, diagram, maybe any random picture. Anything will be there, and you will be given 20 seconds to prepare for it. And then you have to speak on that image for approximately 40 seconds, right? Now here 40 seconds, I don't mean that you have to, keep on speaking for 40 seconds. No, anything above 20 seconds is more than enough, right? So for this, we have templates for our students which are ideally the saviors for them. You ideally get to know the sentence formation, you get to understand that how you have to speak on that particular question, right? But apart from that, if in case I have to explain you a bit how there will be, you should know that what the image is about. You should know what is the topic of that image. You should know what all aspects are there that you can see on the screen, if there is any maximum or minimum value, or at last you will give the conclusion, right? If in case there is not a maximum and minimum value, there can be the chances that you can talk about the colors reflecting on that picture, right? So this is what you have to attempt in terms of your describe image. And ultimately, of course, as far as you are speaking fluently, without hesitation, without fluctuations, without any fumbleness, without any repetition, you will be able to get good scores. There's one thing which is very important in terms of your speaking, that is you should never correct yourself and you should never repeat yourself. Okay? These two are the things that you should be, like on top on a very first day, that I will not do this, right? So this is important. Then comes retell lecture. You will get 1 to 2 questions in the exam, and your listening and speaking skills will be evaluated out of it. In this, what happens, you will be listening to an audio of around 50 seconds to 1.5 minutes, and you have to write down the keywords out of it while listening, right? Keywords you will be writing, and then you will be using it in the template and speaking about that particular topic, that what the lecture was about, right? So your listening and speaking both will be evaluated in this question. Again, once the audio is over, you will be given 10 seconds to prepare and 40 seconds to record. You have to record the same by taking the help of the keywords, right? Then comes answer short questions, which is the last part. You will get 5 to 6 questions in the exam, and your listening and speaking skills are evaluated from this question. So in this question, there will be ideally a question which will be related to your daily life. For example, which instrument is used to measure body's temperature? Thermometer. So you will answer that. How many days are there in a week? 7 days. So you will be answering that, right? But again, there are certain strategies, there are certain tips and tricks, right? You know, if in case you are not able to catch the answer at that particular time, there are certain ways, there are certain tricks that you can ideally do in your attempt, which will ideally give you some pointers in your test, right? It is not necessary कि अगर आप गलत भी बोल दोगे तो भी आपको नंबर नहीं मिलेंगे. No, कहीं ना कहीं somewhere somehow there are ample of parameters which are ideally connected, and it will fetch you maybe a 0.1 score even if you say the incorrect answer, right? So make sure in answer short question never remain numb, okay? Say something or the other, be it any keyword from the question itself, but don't say I don't know, I'm sorry. That is very important, okay? Jokes apart. Then comes writing. So in writing, there are 2 types of questions, that is summarize written text, which will have 1 to 2 questions, and your listening and reading skills will be evaluated out of it. In this, what happens, there will be a passage in front of you, and you will be given 10 minutes to type a summary of it in around 50 to 65 words. This is what the ideal limit is, right? You have to write a summary of it, and you should make sure that the summary should be in 1 sentence only. This is one parameter that has to be met, right? So this is how you have to do. Since you will be reading and writing, so these both skills will be evaluated from this particular question. Then comes essay. In essay, there could be any question related to your, like advantages, disadvantages, agree or disagree, positive, negative impacts. So there could be any question asked to you, and you have to answer the same in 200 to 300 words. So for this also you will be getting a template. We will be providing the template to the students for the same, and then you have to write the same. So this question has no partial credit. It will evaluate only your writing skills, and you have to attempt this question in 20 minutes each question, right? So this is about your speaking and writing. So far, if you attempt well in these questions, I bet you your almost target is achieved, right? Now let's move further to our other modules, that is reading and listening. Your reading module. So in reading, you will have around 29 to 30 minutes to perform that particular module, and you have to attempt 5 different types of questions. So I want to discuss one thing here with you. Like in PTE, it is not required that you have to be 100% accurate. Even if you are maintaining an accuracy of 80% consistently, even then you can get very good scores. Okay, so like here if we talk about, there are 5 different types of questions. First one is MCQ single answer and MCQ multiple answer. So these 2 are the questions which are ideally not important as per your overall exam, right? You will get 1 to 2 questions, and they have no partial credit. They will evaluate only your reading skills. So in this, what happens is, on your screen there will be a question. You will be given a passage as well. You have to see that which option is applicable as per my asked question, right? You will be having options like A, B, C and D, and you have to choose one out of them. Single answer means there's only one response which is correct, but in multiple answers you will have maybe 2 or 3 responses which will be correct. But again, there are certain things that we have to take care, that is, in multiple responses you will have negative marking as well. So you have to mark only that option for which you are sure about, right? If in case you have any doubt in terms of any of the option, better don't mark it, otherwise it will be conducted as a negative score. So for example, you have options like A, B, C and D. Right? You're sure about B option, that this is 100% accurate and this is the correct option that I have chosen. But you are doubting in terms of this option. But while attempting, you have clicked on this as well. So because of multiple answer, you will have a negative score, that is 1 minus 1, 0. So you'll end up getting 0 in that particular question. Rather than that, skipping that particular option for which you are not sure and just going with the one for which you are 110% sure about will fetch you 1 mark for that particular question, which is ideally a good thing to do. So you should ideally focus that for the option that I am sure about, I will only go with that, because ultimately this question will not impact that much in your overall score, right? Then comes your other 3 questions, which are reorder paragraphs, which will be 2 to 3 questions in exams, your reading fill in the blanks, which will be 4 to 5, and reading and writing blanks, which will be 5 to 6 questions. Then in this case, what happens? These 4 questions, like I mentioned, will have only one skill to be assessed, that is reading. But reading and writing blanks will evaluate your reading and writing skills as well. So like I mentioned in your previous slide, that in summarized written text, your writing and reading both are evaluated. Just like that, in reading, your writing scores are also compensated, right? So in this, what happens? So basically for these 3 questions, there are ideally 3 things which are very important. First is vocabulary. Second is your grammar. And third is your collocations, right? So these 3 are the things which should be well thorough. You should have a basic knowledge about these things, and you should ideally be able to understand that what you have to attempt. Okay, so in reorder paragraphs, what happens is there will be certain, just allow me to erase this one. Okay, so in reorder paragraphs, what happens is you will be provided with some statements and they will be in shuffled manner, right? You have to see that which of my statements stands to be on the first, followed by second, third, fourth and fifth. There will be ideally 4 to 5 statements given to you in the exam, and you have to rearrange them ideally. Reorders का मतलब क्या होता है? You have to rearrange those particular statements and arrange them in a correct order, right? So first पे हमारा हमेशा कौन सा statement आएगा? Which is ideally an independent sentence or is introducing you to the topic, right? You have to see, आपने सारी statements को अच्छे से पढ़ना है and then you have to see कि मेरा ऐसा कौन सा statement है जो मुझे topic से introduce करवा रहा है, right? Then you have to ideally make a pair with it. Reorders में सबसे main concern आपका चीज़ इसी का होता है that you have to go on by making the pairs. For example, अगर मेरा आंसर A, B, C, D है, तो अगर मेरा A, B का पेयर मैंने सही बनाया तो मुझे 1 मार्क मिलेगा, B, C का पेयर बनाया है 2 मार्क्स, C, D का पेयर बनाया है 3 मार्क्स. सो इट विल गो ऑन विद द पेयरिंग सिस्टम ओनली. आप जिस तरीके से पेयर बनाते चले जाओगे उस तरीके से ही आपको उसका एक स्कोर मिलता जाएगा, ठीक है? बट अगेन द थिंग दैट हैज टू बी कंसिडर्ड हियर इज द पेयरिंग शुड बी इन सीक्वेंस. अगर आपका सीक्वेंस में पेयर नहीं बना, यू विल नॉट गेट स्कोर ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन. नाउ देयर कुड बी सम स्टूडेंट्स हु विल से कि ठीक है जी, आंसर तो मेरा था A, B, C, D, राइट, बट मैंने मार्क किया है C, D, A, B. अब स्टूडेंट्स कहेंगे कि मेरा तो C, D का भी पेयर बन रहा है, A, B का भी पेयर बन रहा है, बट बेटा द सीक्वेंस वाज A, B, C, D. बट आपने सीक्वेंस खराब कर दिया, यू विल गेट 0 देयर. तुम्हें 2 नंबर उसके नहीं मिलेंगे पेयरिंग के, ठीक है? सो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि मेरा अगर पेयर बन रहा है दैट शुड बी इन द सीक्वेंस. प्रॉपर्ली कीवर्ड्स को हमने मैच करके सीक्वेंस बनाना है. सेकंड में हमने क्या देखना है यहाँ पे, अब हमने एक फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट ढूंढ लिया, उसके बाद वी विल लुक फॉर द कीवर्ड. ऑफ द प्रीवियस सेंटेंस, कि मेरा प्रीवियस स्टेटमेंट का नीचे वाले के साथ कीवर्ड कहाँ मैच हो रहा है, राइट? सो दिस यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. अगर कीवर्ड मैच नहीं हो रहा तो मे बी अगर यहाँ पे कोई आपका स्पेसिफिक नाउन था तो यहाँ पे उसका क्या होगा, प्रोनाउन होगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट में दे वर टॉकिंग अबाउट सम रिसर्चर जिसका नाम गिवन होगा एंड मे बी लेट्स से सेंट थॉमस, राइट? सो इट इज आइडियली अ स्पेसिफिक नाउन. आपने वो लोकेट कर लिया कि ये मुझे टॉपिक से इंट्रोड्यूस करवा रहा है, मैंने इसको चूज कर लिया. सेकेंड स्टेटमेंट में यू विल लुक फॉर अ प्रोनाउन. अब सेंट थॉमस का प्रोनाउन क्या होगा, ही. आप उसकी कनेक्टिविटी देखोगे कि मेरे प्रीवियस स्टेटमेंट की नेक्स्ट स्टेटमेंट के साथ कनेक्टिविटी क्या है, एंड सो एज ऑन यू विल मेक द pairing of that particular question. ठीक है, followed by third option which will ideally have a connector or maybe further keyword matching of that previous statement. Last में आपने कौन सी statement choose करनी होती है, जो आपकी topic से बिल्कुल irrelevant होगी या फिर आपको topic से conclusion provide कर रही होगी. इसमें अब आपकी ना क्या चीज़ important है, सबसे important है understanding. आपको स्टेटमेंट पढ़ के समझ आ जाना चाहिए कि मेरी स्टेटमेंट बात किस वे में कर रही है. समटाइम्स क्या होगा, आपकी पहले हिस्ट्री की बात होगी फिर प्रेजेंट की बात होगी. सो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट थिंग कि मेरी स्टेटमेंट्स आइडियली एक्सप्लेन किस टेक्स्ट पे कर रही है मुझे. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द मेन जिस्ट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर स्टेटमेंट एंड देन यू विल गो ऑन फॉर मेकिंग द पेयर्स, राइट? सो दिस इज द थिंग दैट यू हैव टू टेक केयर व्हाइल डूइंग योर रीऑर्डर्स. नाउ लेट्स डिस्कस आवर ब्लैंक्स. So like I previously mentioned कि reading करने के लिए there are ideally 3 parameters which are important, which were grammar, vocabulary and collocations. So in grammar what happens? Grammar में आपके कुछ basic rules होते हैं, ठीक है? Like to के साथ कौन सी form of verb आती है? First form, ठीक है? So you should be well thorough with your basic grammar rules. आपके टेंसेस अच्छे होने चाहिए. वी डोंट वांट यू कि आप परफेक्ट हो, आप बिल्कुल you should be extraordinarily perfect. No, we just want you to be well thorough with your basic grammar rules, with basic grammar, and you should understand tenses and voice also. ठीक है? This will ideally help you to understand the statements, the sentence formations, कि आपके जो स्क्रीन पे पैसेजेस आए हैं उसको आपको समझ आएगा कि उनका मेन मीनिंग क्या है. ठीक है, दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ रीडिंग ब्लैंक्स में क्या होगा, आपके स्क्रीन के ऊपर पैसेज होगा और उसमें कुछ ब्लैंक्स होंगी, बट उन ब्लैंक्स के जो ऑप्शंस होंगे वो आपको नीचे गिवन होंगे, जो कि आपको ड्रैग करके अपनी ब्लैंक्स पे लेके जाने होंगे. कैसे? अंडरस्टैंडिंग these things, understanding the sentence formation, understanding the vocabulary. ठीक है? Now these things are very important for doing your reading blanks. इन चीज़ों का अगर ध्यान रख के आप करोगे, reading will not at all be a taboo for you. ठीक है? There are so many students who always crib and cry that we find reading very difficult. Reading is not difficult. It is just your lack of practice. Make sure on everyday basis you keep on practicing on the areas wherein you are lacking. You should have an agenda to follow that on this particular day I have to attempt these many questions. ठीक है? And nothing is hard at all. Like we always say, practice makes perfect. So you should ideally practice. You should make a target that every day, okay, if I am lacking in reading blanks, I will do 30 questions every day, right? Now, reading and writing blanks में क्या होता है? There will be a passage in front of you, ठीक है? उसके रिलेटेड जो ब्लैंक्स होंगी, उनकी ब्लैंक्स के साथ ही आपके पास 4 ऑप्शंस खुल जाएंगे. आपने उन चारों ऑप्शंस में से एक ऑप्शन को चूज करना होगा. ठीक है? अगेन इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन अंडरस्टैंडिंग योर सेंटेंस. आपको आइडियली कुछ वर्ड्स के मतलब पता होने चाहिए. एंड ऑन टॉप ऑफ एवरीथिंग there is one important thing, that is your collocations. So I tell this to my students for the very first day, that the collocation list which is providing by Pearson, you should be well thorough with it. Collocations ideally होता क्या है? Collocations are ideally a set of words which are always used together, right? So in this what happens, हमें ना एक guess लग जाता है कि हमने मे बी अगर मेरा blank के बाद कैलेंडर है, ठीक है, और मेरे पास ऑप्शंस क्या गिवन है? एकेडमिक, स्टूडियस, डिपार्टेड, ओरिजिन. ठीक है, और आपके जो पैसेज में बात हो रही है वो किसी स्टडी के रिलेटेड बात हो रही है, ठीक है, आपको पता चल गया कि मेरा मेन पैसेज का जस्ट क्या है, स्टडी है, राइट। तो अब स्टडी के रिलेटेड अगर बात हो रही है तो आपका एकेडमिक वर्ड स्टडी के साथ है, यस, स्टूडियस वर्ड है, यस, डिपार्टेड, नो, ओरिजिन, नो। So you have eliminated these two options from your given options कि ठीक है मेरा इन चारों में से ये दोनों तो आ ही नहीं सकते, उनको तुमने already eliminate करके रख दिया, right? You are left with what? Academic and studious. Now you will see as per your type of blank आपके sentence के accordingly कौन सा आंसर आ सकता है, ठीक है। अब blank के बाद कैलेंडर है तो स्टूडियस कैलेंडर तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं आ सकता। कैसे आ सकता है? स्टूडियस मीन्स पढ़ाकू, right? So studious calendar, what will a studious person do with a calendar, right? Or how can you relate a calendar with a studious person? So this is ideally incorrect, and then you will choose the option academic. So we always use academic with the word calendar. This is what collocation is. ठीक है, कि आपको पता लग जाता है, आप एक गैस लगा लेते हो कि मेरा इस वर्ड के साथ ये वाला वर्ड मैच कर रहा है, ठीक है। These are the big saviors. Like if you are well thoroughd with your collocations, nothing will be tough for you in reading, right? I hope I have made you understand reading module. So now we will understand the listening module, ठीक है। So in listening you will get 30 to 43 minutes and there will be 8 different types of questions that you have to attempt in this particular module, right? So now these 8 questions are divided into 2 sections. How? So your summarize written text is your section 1. In this what happens is you will be listening to an audio and you have to write a summary of that same audio by writing down certain keywords. You will be writing some keywords on your notepad while you are listening to the audio, and then for this we have templates that we give to our students which are ideally the life saviors. So with the help of templates you have to write a summary of that particular audio in no more than 50 to 75 words. Right? And in exam you will get 1 to 2 questions like this and each question will carry 10 marks. So again you see, आप सुन के लिख रहे हो, so your listening and writing skills are evaluated from this particular question. So this will donate you marks in listening and writing also, and for each task you will get 10 minutes. So those 10 minutes are sorted, like for one summary you are getting 10 minutes, one summary 10 minutes, 2 summaries 20 minutes, right? Then after that your section 2 starts, wherein you have to attempt these 7 questions in total 15 to 20 minutes depending upon your question range. Like however question range is right mentioned here, iske accordingly there could be chances maybe you get only 1 or you get 2, you get 2 fill in the blanks or maybe 3 fill in the blanks. According to that the time will be separated and you have to attempt these particular questions in one go, right? So in this, like I already mentioned, that there are certain questions which have weightage, high weightage I should say. So it is not necessary कि आपको हर question में perfect होना ज़रूरी है. So in listening there are 4 such questions which are ideally your life saviors if you are targeting yourself at 7 bands, 8 bands, right? So for this what happens is, in listening you have to be pro in summarized spoken text, in fill in the blanks, in highlight incorrect words and write from dictation. So the other 4 questions are not that important, which includes MCQ single answer, MCQ multiple answer, highlight correct summary and select missing word. So in questions mein kya hoga? All these questions have segregated scoring, right? So if we discuss about multiple answers, so multiple answers will have 1 to 2 questions and only listening skills will be evaluated from this question. So multiple answer hai to matlab negative marking bhi hogi, right? So you have to see, you have to click on only those options जिनके लिए आप sure हो. जिनके लिए थोड़ा सा भी doubt है, better don't mark it because these questions are not important for your overall score, right? Then comes fill in the blanks. This is a very important questions and you will get 2 to 3 questions like this in your exam and your listening and writing skills will be evaluated out of it, right? इसमें क्या होगा, आपकी स्क्रीन के ऊपर एक पैसेज है, ठीक है, and there are certain blanks on it and the same audio will also be playing. So उस audio के चलते चलते you have to see whichever word the speaker has spoken on the place of blank, you have to type that word, right? So you are listening as well as writing, so your both of the skills will be evaluated. But in this question, what you have to take care is your spellings. You should be aware of the spellings whichever the word the speaker has spoken, right? Apart from that, certain punctuations, for example full stop के बाद आपका blank आ गया, तो आपको पता होना चाहिए that first letter of my word should be capital, ठीक है? And if in case there is any specific noun in between, for example Africa, so Africa is your specific noun, so you will type A as capital in that, right? So these are the things that you have to take care in your fill in the blanks. There are ample of other techniques, strategies as well that we keep on educating on everyday basis. Apart from that, there is highlight correct summary. This question will evaluate your listening and reading skills, and there will be 1 to 2 questions in the exam. So like I said, ये question important नहीं है. However, in this question what happens, there will be an audio playing, right? And there will be 4 options given to you. You have to see that out of those 4 options, which of my option is correct as per the summary of that audio. आप audio को ध्यान से सुनेंगे and then you have to choose the option that which is the correct summary out of my options, right? Then single answer. So in single answer what happens is, there will be a passage you will be listening to, and you have to mark the option which will be only one that will be correct, right? This will evaluate only your listening skills. इसमें क्या होगा again? So for these 4 questions which are not important, which includes your MCQ single answer, MCQ multiple answer, highlight correct summary and select missing word. So for these 4 questions that I have picked right here, in चारों questions के लिए there are 2 things which are very important. Number 1 is your concentration. That is ideally required in your whole test though, but in these particular questions these things are very important. And then your elimination. ठीक है? So your concentration and understanding of the passage, the audio is required, and at the same time you should be able to eliminate the particular options. For example A B C D है, जिसमें से आपको आपकी ऑडियो के रिलेटेड लग रहा है कि B और C नहीं आ सकता, उनको ऑलरेडी निकाल दो अपने ऑप्शंस में से and choose from the best options available with you, right? So this is ideally the thing that can be used in these type of questions. Then comes select missing word. Select missing word में क्या होगा, आप एक ऑडियो सुन रहे होंगे and there will be ideally 1 to 2 questions in the exam, only listening will be evaluated, right? So in this what happens, you will be listening to an audio and at the end of the recording there will be a beep. Beep means blank. So you have to see कि उस blank की जगह मेरा A, B, C, D में से कौन सा option आ सकता है, right? So you have to choose one option out of them. Again, these parameters will be important, ठीक है? Ideally इसमें एक secret trick है कि like at the end of the audio, like second last sentence में the speaker gives the hint कि आपका कौन सा word आ सकता है. So you should have that understanding, that presence of mind, that devoted concentration towards the audio, so that आपका बिल्कुल भी इधर उधर distract नहीं हो रहा है एक second भी. As far as you are concentrated, you will be able to understand the point of the speaker, right? Then comes highlight incorrect words. So this question is again a very important question, wherein you will be getting 2 to 3 questions and you will be getting 2 to 3 questions and your listening and reading skills will be evaluated out of it, right? So in this what happens, there will be a passage in front of you, ठीक है? उसकी same audio भी चल रही होगी. And out of that passage you have to see that which word was spoken differently by the speaker as per my given text on the screen. ठीक है? So you have to mark on those words. For example, on your screen it is mentioned researchers are doing a research, but audio में क्या लिखा है, scientists बोला है, scientists are doing a research, right? So you will click on the word researchers which is right here. क्यों? क्योंकि audio से वो different था. So same way you should have that understanding, you should have that presence of mind that you are able to locate the words which are ideally differently spoken by the speaker, right? So this question will evaluate your listening and reading skills, क्योंकि आप read करते करते mark करोगे, so your reading skills will also be evaluated. Again, like I said, this is a very important question, but the thing that you have to take care in this question is negative marking. So you have to mark on only that word for which you are sure about. अगर आपको किसी word में doubt है कि ये वाला word मेरा हो सकता है या नहीं, better don't mark it, right? But गलत mark मत करो, it will lead to -1 negative point. Right? So अगर आपके let's say एक question में 5 incorrect words थे, so you will straight away get those 5 marks. Each word has 1 mark. So you see how important this question is in terms of your reading and listening perspective, right? So this is very important. Then the last question of the test, which is write from dictation. This question will evaluate your listening and writing skills, and you will be getting 3 to 4 questions of this particular type, right? So in this what happens is you will be hearing a sentence, जैसे हमने speaking में बात की थी, there was a repeat sentence जिसको हम सुन के बोलेंगे sentence को, but here you will be listening to a sentence and then writing it. So your listening and writing skills will be evaluated, right? So but इसमें condition क्या है, that the first letter of the word should be capital followed by a full stop at the end. अगर दोनों में से कोई भी condition meet नहीं हो रही है, you will end up getting 0, right? So make sure कि आपने concentration के साथ उस content को सुना है and then you are writing it down. Again your spellings are important क्योंकि इसमें तुम सुन के लिखोगे, ठीक है? In between कोई specific noun है तो वो capital आएगा. So that basic punctuation, basic grammar, basic understanding is required for this particular question. Again, in this question also, 1 word will be equal to 1 mark. So you see how important it is, right? So this is the overview ideally that I wanted to give you about PTE. You should ideally be well thorough with the type of questions. There are ample of techniques, there are ample of strategies, there are templates which you can ideally use to perform a particular question. So that all is required, right? So I hope I made you familiar with the type of questions which are there in PTE, and thank you so much for connecting. Have a good day.